In Houston's a great place. Mr. Bobby Bridger, welcome back to KPFT. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm fine, man. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you. Well, you've been busy the last couple of weeks. Tell folks a little bit about you traveling around talking about a new book that you just put out called Where the Tall Grass Grows.
Yes, the book came out in October, so it's still out of the chute.
That's right.
And I started in North Louisiana. Went from there out to back down to the Texas Book Fair, and then out to all over the West, Northern California, Arizona, Nevada. I had a great time in Carson City, Nevada, and then up to Utah and Wyoming and down. I've been going to a lot of the West's best independent bookstores, is the way I've put it.
And you'll be at one tomorrow night as well.
I certainly will. I'll be at Brazos Bookstore tomorrow night at 7 o'clock here in Houston.
And that's on Bissonnette, right in between Kirby and Greenbrier.
Yeah, right in that area.
Okay,
yeah,
sounds good. Now, if you show up tomorrow night and you purchase one of these books, you get a free prize.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Anybody that shows up at the 14 Pews Saturday night, I'm performing there. If you come with an autographed copy of the book that you bought there at the Brazos Bookstore, I'm going to let you in for free.
Okay. So you'll be signing books tomorrow night at Brazos Books. Starts at 7
o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then if you go by, pick up a book and go to 14 Pews, which is on Aurora, 800 Aurora.
800 Aurora over in the Heights.
Off of North Main?
Yeah.
Off of North Main. And tell folks what you're going to be doing on Saturday night over there,
well,
and who's going to be performing with you.
Saturday night, I'm doing the last of my trilogy, A Ballad of the West, Part 3. It's the last of the trilogy I'm actually still performing as a one-man show, and it's called Lakota. And I'm doing that Saturday night over at the 14 Pews with my dear friend John Inman, the guitar wizard of Texas, one of them.
Yes. Well, that's a great treat to have him.
We've been doing this for many years, and he's like breathing almost with it when it really is. We're together, you know.
Right.
So anyway, he'll be there, and I'm looking forward to doing it again here in Houston. It's Lakota's. I think the reason that I'm still doing it, of course, coincides with the publication of the book, because the subject matter relates in a very real way.
And they were a Native American tribe in the Dakotas that had some famous ones like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse.
Oh, yeah, that's what this piece is about.
As well as Black
Elk.
And that's what basically the book is about him. And he was a shaman, is that right?
Yeah, actually, he was a holy man.
Okay.
And Black Elk Speaks, of course, is a classic now in American theology and American history. It's American psychology. It's kind of covered a lot of different bases. And one of the things the new book is about the impact of that particular vision of Black Elk that was related to John Neihart and another scholar named Joseph Epps Brown that emerged in North America again in the 1960s and really caught fire in the 70s. And that a lot of modern thinkers believe is emerging as a true religious classic that will eventually stand alongside the other great religious interpretations of the world. And so I'm just one who's written about Black Elk Speaks.
Well, tell people the full name of the book.
The book is called Where the Tall Grass Grows, Becoming Indigenous and the Mythological Legacy of the American West. Quite a mouthful. But
that's right. Expand on that a little bit.
Well, the book, those three different aspects of the title explain a lot about what the book is about. Where the Tall Grass Grows, of course, alludes to the Great Plains, the Trans-Missouri to be specific, and to be even more specific, the ephemeral region known as the West. How to define the West is very vague and ambiguous. For example, Oregon, you'd have to go east to go west, really, to visit the classic West. And I really define it by rainfall. But where the tall grass grows hopefully attracts the reader to that region that I believe is where America will always return to reinvent itself. And I think that for the last 40 or 50 years, we have been in the era of the anti-hero in America. And particularly after 9/11, when it came time to really call for heroes, we had no real idea of what our heroic archetype was anymore, because we've spent so much time kind of examining all the flaws in it. And so I wanted to go back and look at what the American heroic archetype was, how it was created, and that led me to this notion that through Black Elk Speaks and through the other aspects of Black Elk's teachings, you have this Pan-American Indian, if you will, culture that has come about in the last 50 years as well, through mass communications, through travel, through electronics, and so forth and so forth. You have Tlinkits married to Seminoles and Mohawks married to Mojaves, and so there's a pan-Indian culture now.
Right.
But it centers largely around this Plains Indian culture, because that has been the culture that has been in the public's eye so much over history, largely because of the Wild West shows and the fact that most of the Indians that performed in those Wild West shows were Plains Indians. So the image of the Indian, if you will, around the world is that of feathered headdresses, of peace pipes, of teepees, and all the accoutrements of Plains Indians, you see. So there's this big mythological association to begin with the Great Plains. Pardon me, but it's also where Americans created our great myth of the can-do American. And in the West, we don't have Southerns, we don't have Easterns, we have Westerns, you see. And largely that's because when the country was founding itself, the whole continent was the West, you see. I mean, if we'd come in to San Francisco, it would have been the Eastern, I guess you could say, conversely. So the West was in our mythology from the very beginning, and so as this is part of this culture, this was where, as we encountered the Trans-Missouri and the Great Plains, the first genuine European mythology since the days of Robin Hood was born as we were in Conestoga wagons, or whatever you want to call it, and Manifest Destiny, if you will, and all that. So you have this region that's rich with the continent's mythology. And so where the tall grass grows, then you have the mythological legacy of the American West. But then there's another kind of a interesting little remark in there, becoming indigenous. And there's a lot of, that's a hot topic now, you might say, that whether you're an immigrant or whether you're indigenous or whatever, and whether you're Native American or whatever. And I've been toying with that notion for nigh on 20 years now, since discovering the term in a book written by Luther Standing Bear, a Lakota philosopher that wrote back at the turn of the 20th century. And he offered a criteria for the foreigner to become, from an Indian's perspective, of how the foreigner would become indigenous. And he said that first, that the land is vested in the spirit of the Indian. here.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be until the foreigner can divine the rhythm of the land
Okay.
first. And then his bones must be formed by the dust of his forefathers' bones. In other words, the DNA has to be redistributed. So we haven't been here long enough, and we clearly haven't learned to divine the rhythm of the land.
That's true.
And so about 20 years ago, as I traveled around the country, I started asking people this question, are you indigenous? And these knee-jerks first came back like, well, only Indians are indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, if you're not indigenous, then what are you? And when you ask that question, it begins to provoke some very interesting reactions. And it begins to open some doors to that lead to some of the environmental problems that we face,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And so that was what triggered this book, was bringing all those things together to examine the heroic archetype of America from this perspective of becoming indigenous
Mm-hmm.
and where the tall grass grows and how it continues to affect us.
Amazing.
I hope that's
great.
summarizes.
I think you did pretty good.
Okay.
Well, I can't wait to dive into it.